So, hello, good day, welcome. Nice to see you. Hello. All right. Open the chat. Okay, okay. Okay, maybe just to remember in the beginning, today again, the talk will be recorded. So if you say something, one can hear you, but you won't be seen, and only I will be recorded. So of course, feel free, if you want to say something, feel free to speak, or you can write it. Yes. Apart from that, this is all there is. This is not spiritual or special, yet it's whole and complete. Seen from the person, this might sound special because it contradicts its experience, but wholeness, so to speak, is the natural reality. It's just what happens, what apparently happens, is just naturally itself, and it's just naturally whole. There isn't anything beyond that, or there isn't anything within that. There is no hidden deeper reality. There is no absolute reality around it. There is no secret principle working behind everything, so to speak. All there is what apparently happens, which is unexperienced and unknowable. There is no here and there is no there, so to speak. There is no this and there is no beyond or behind. In that sense, what apparently happens is everything. And at the same time, it's no thing. It's not something. What is, so to speak, is not a circumstance. It's not a certain kind of reality in contrast to other things. All of those ideas, so to speak, that there is something which is true and that there are a lot of other things which are not true, are coming from a personal experience which knows at least one or two, knows at least itself. There is something which is true, and there are things which aren't true. There is one thing which is, and there are all the other things don't exist or are an appearance, so to speak. This would be duality. In duality, in a personal experience, there seem to be always at least two or one. So what this message points to apparently is that there isn't a self, that there isn't something which we really are as an experienced circumstance. There is no center within anyone. There isn't anything separately alive from everything else. And the whole idea of an autonomous separate existence, the whole idea of a personal fulfillment or a state of fulfillment for that me would be all the dream. That exactly is the dream, so to speak. But now to say there is a dream again would come from the person's experience, still saying, there is something. There is something which really happens. May it be a dream, but seen from the person, this again would be something that really is. No, saying the person is a dream actually means there is neither a person nor a dream. There isn't anyone separate. This whole existence, so to speak, is an assumed existence. There is no reality of it at all. In that sense, there's no person, there's no dream. There is no one who's lost, and there is no one who needs to wake up. All there is what apparently happens. It's exactly this. It's exactly as it is. No one lost in it. No one deluded by anything. No one who could become free, or no one who can be liberated from what happens. That's it. There's no teaching. There is no one. Nothing to be done. Nothing to be not done. All of those things. Okay, I start right in the chat. Can you talk about there being no time and nothing is happening? Well, not really, because that's unknowable. Timelessness is not a state. Timelessness is not something that someone can become aware of. Same with nothing is happening. In the end, one has to say it the other way round. The whole experience of there being time and the whole experience of there being a real happening only takes place for the person. And when the person turns out to be non-existent, so to speak, turning out is a bit superficial, the whole rest of it just collapses as an experience. And it's the person which says, I'm now, this is now happening, I'm now happening, and that what I am aware of is also now happening. That's time and reality. I'm real, and because I'm aware of all the rest is real too. That turns out to be unreal, so to speak, or non-existent. Okay, Yaroslav writes, in your book, you say that to live consciously is an illusion. We can see that when people are not conscious in their behavior, they create bad consequences. Unconsciously electing dictators, hurting others. Yeah. So you really don't give credit to any conscious approach. Well, yes. Yes and no, because in a way one could say more or less conscious people is what apparently happens. In that sense, consciousness is what apparently happens. And what you seem to be aware of is what apparently happens. But it's neither something that can be done to be more or less conscious, nor is it something that we are conscious. So being conscious is just not the answer. Being conscious about a circumstance, see, which is already limited, which is already just within the story. Being conscious about something just is what apparently happens, same as feelings and thoughts and clouds and good weather and bad weather. It's just not, and it's whole and complete, but it's not the answer. It would be part of the dream of the person that the answer to seeking is to become a more conscious person, and that you can, and that there is someone who can consciously do that. And that's the dream. Being conscious of, I don't know, throwing plastic in the on the street is polluting the earth is what apparently happens. One could say in that moment, so to speak. But that there's a person who is conscious, a me who is conscious and can consciously do being conscious of, it's a complete dream. In that sense, consciousness is just not an approach. Seen from the person, it is regarded as an approach to seeking, and it is seen as a possible answer. The more conscious I am, the more conscious I will, either the more full will be my experience, the more fulfilled is my experience, or I will know the answers. I will be more able to do life in a better way, which again will serve me becoming a fulfilled person. in that sense, I don't give any credit to an approach via consciousness. Okay, question. Is the me an experience? Is an experience an explication? Okay, explication, what might that be? Okay, yeah. Could have known that. Is the me therefore a compulsive explainer? But in reality, it is so that nothing can be explained. No, it was right. Explication also actually meant explanation. Well, that's the funny thing, because the me seems to experience itself as being present. That's the me, an apparent self-experience. And all it knows is to live in experience. So I feel there is something which is here. I'm aware of that. And I'm aware of something happening. And out of that, automatically there seems to be an unfulfillment. And out of that seems to be a need for explanations, for stories, for more knowing. Because in a very funny way, the self-experience, the knowing of one's own presence already instantly isn't enough. It's not experienced as enough. So one possible answer might be, if I know more. Same with becoming conscious. If I could become more conscious, if I would know more, maybe this would fulfill me. Maybe there is an answer. But on the other hand, and that's the interesting thing, all of that cannot be found. All of that does not exist. That's why I said it's an apparent experience. It's a dreamt. But this is not logical. This can't be explained. How it can feel like I'm there, but they're not being anyone at all. This whole, in that sense, there is no experience. But the person would regard itself as that. I'm here. I'm now here. I'm aware of that. I know that. But in reality, is it so that nothing can be explained? Well, in reality, the thing is that there is no such thing as in reality. That's why there is no real explanation at all. The whole reality that the person wants to be explained doesn't exist as such. In that sense, there is no explanation. It's not that there is something which can't be explained. What is already isn't anything. It's no thing, which isn't an explanation. Okay, just a follow-up. Are thoughts completely random and not based on the environment one grows up in? They seem to be based on what the me has experienced. Well, yeah, one could say so, because it's not separate. You can't separate thoughts out from the rest. They're just undivided. It's all undivided, so to speak. There is no separation between your body, between the thoughts, between the feelings, between the outside world, between the weather. Of course, if it's going to rain and a thought pops up, oh damn, it's going to rain. See, it's undivided. It's not that the thoughts are random and the weather is random. All of that is undivided, and all of it is completely random. But that's the thing, you can't separate anything out, because there aren't parts. In that sense, of course, you can't separate thoughts from feelings, from anything. But the whole thing is random, so to speak. Okay, go on. That's sweet. Many, many moons ago, I did a course that concluded that life is empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless that it's empty and meaningless. This seems to point to the same thing. Yes. They also said that what most people call life is the survival of the meaning that people attach to what happens. I'm guessing you're going to say something along the lines of, well, kind of except there is nothing happening and there is no one there creating meaning in the first place. That is just what's happening for no one. All right. Yeah, if there would have been a question, I might have said that. But yes. And of course, what the person would regard as life, or what the person thinks what life is, it is its presence and to experience, and automatically to seek. For the person, life means to seek, to be a seeker. Yeah, to do life. Question. Is life not capable of creating a real separate me, or something that is actually real? Well, I mean, when you say life or wholeness or whatever, you already imply that it's a circumstance, that there is, that it is something, a certain way of reality or a certain way of being that is able to create or do something. So there is no answer, of course. Okay, question. Tony Parsons speaks of oneness. Is there such a thing as oneness? Well, no, there isn't. No, there isn't such a thing as oneness. There isn't such a thing as no thing. There isn't wholeness. There isn't all those things. Yeah. All there is what apparently happens, which is unknowable and unexperienced. And it's naturally whole, but no one knows that. So it's not something. Okay. Hi, Andreas. Though I really love listening to you and to this message, I see that this message doesn't give anything actually. I mean, I don't understand at the end of the day that there isn't a me, that everything is whole, that there is no separation. Life is just life, and I feel as a separate person, at times struggling, at other times feeling peace, just living. Yes, exactly. That's what apparently happens, and that's naturally and utterly whole. There is no additional realization within that possible. There isn't anything which could be added to this, and there isn't anything which could be taken away from this. Yeah, there isn't anything which can give anything. There isn't anything which can add anything. All there is what apparently happens, and if that's what you are describing, that's it. Yes. That's it. There's nothing to gain. There's nothing to gain. There is no no one who will wake up from what happens to the truth. There is no truth. There is nothing to wake up to. There's just what apparently happens. Okay, I believe Tony Parsons refers to what apparently happens as oneness, just uses different words. Yeah, absolutely. It's not about words. I mean, this whole message or non-message, so to speak, is not about words. I know we speak a lot about, might it be that, could it be that, but it's empty. It's all empty. Okay. There can't be a question, and there can or a comment. There can't be any existence because no one is there to perceive it. Actually, we would have to say there is no existence, not even apparent existence. So in the equation, emptiness is form and non-existence is existence. Form existence is not explainable because there is no form existence. Yes, absolutely. So where does form come from? Why is it mentioned? How can it be mentioned? Well, that's the thing. There isn't a real mentioning of it coming from a separate standpoint. But why there is speaking, why there is how it is, it's just unknowable. In the end, form never happens as such. But this is unexplainable. And it's unexplainable how these words are spoken. And it's unexplainable how it's possible that it's being said that these words are spoken while they are spoken. Just no answer. I mean, in a way, that's the question. How is this possible? How is sitting in front of a screen and being you and being me and asking questions and apparently getting answers, and how is that possible? And there is no answer to this. It's actually impossible. It can't be, but it doesn't care. If nothingness is unknowable, how can we say anything about it at all? Oh, we can't. We can't say anything about it. It's impossible. and and assuming that while we speak, we say something about nothingness would be part of the dream. We don't say anything here. Nothing is being spoken, so it's all words. This is not speaking about something. That's the dream. There's just speaking, apparently, and listening. And this doesn't refer only to this issue. It's always like that, so to speak. Saying I'm hungry is what apparently happens. It doesn't say anything about what really goes on. It's just saying I'm hungry, which is whole and complete. That there is a real happening, that there is a real person which is hungry, would only take place within the dream of the person. The question, the speaking about it is nothingness itself. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. If we would speak about something, this would be a teaching. If we would speak about how it is, we would think in terms of circumstances and trying to approach how it really is. And we would talk about true and untrue and all those things. But the funny thing is that this speaking, so to speak, or this listening, it's not my thing. This apparent happening apparently is just pointing to itself. While saying this is it, it is it. It doesn't point to anything that's beyond itself, so to speak. Yeah, and this is not special. It may sound special for the seeker, but it's as much what apparently happens than walking down the street or going to the toilet or having a philosophical discussion or whatever. That's why there is no message. That's why there isn't that's why there isn't anything in this event which can be found or which gives anything to anyone. It's just
So,
yeah.
Sorry, Andreas. Hi, it's Ian. How you doing?
Yeah, very good.
So it just reminded me of something that Tony was saying at Buckland. It's almost like how many ways can we find to say the same thing, that you can't look for this because this is it. So you can't find something you've already got. You can't go anywhere because you're already where you're trying to go to. And it's the very act of looking that stops you. Actually, that's part of it as well. And the very act of trying to get there is it. So the whole pointlessness of these conversations is part of it as well. And the other thing I wanted to just mention is, I used to be a teacher, and one of the things that I would talk about is the use of visual metaphors in trying to understand things. So we use visual metaphors to make sense of the world in a learning way, if you like. So that word "about" in Latin means around a subject. It's like it comes from, it's like a roundabout is around something. So I don't know, it's kind of quite funny that we're talking about something, but the very thing we're talking around is it in and of itself. So it doesn't. I mean, I was reading the book *Sapiens* the other night. It's a Jonas, I can't remember the name of the author, and he talks about this thing about metaphors being used by sapiens because we need stories to cooperate. Once you get above a certain number of people, you can't exist based on other animals exist based on their relationships, but once you get above a certain number, what has our sapien brain developed, according to the brilliant guy that wrote *Sapiens*, is this need to have stories, and those stories are based on metaphors, and we relate to those metaphors like it's true. The church, the company, they're all just massive stories. There's no basis in reality. Well, there is no whatsoever, even in the story. Yeah. Anyway, so again, I'm not very good at coming up with questions, am I? I must try, as a teacher, I must try harder.
To find the metaphor, but as you said, I mean, the dream starts when, or the person would assume that we talk about a subject, and the subject is, there is a person, and the person is separate, and there is liberation.
Right. Was that? Yeah. So actually, the dream is that we are talking about that subject, but all that's actually happening is the talking.
Absolutely, which is absolutely itself already. It's not talking about anything. Absolutely. Yes.
In that case, I better shut up.
No.
No, I'm joking.
No, you're also not talking about something.
Yeah, my tongue's sticking out at you now. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Andreas.
Thank you. Question, so logic or rational is just a dream. Well, a logic and rational is what apparently happens. But the dream is that there is real logic and that there is real rationality and that there is an answer in them. That answer, of course, referring to the seeking energy. So logical thinking is what happens, apparently. And people thinking that they are rational is what apparently happens, which is whole and complete already, but it doesn't provide answers in terms of finding answers for the need to find fulfillment. So yes. Simone writes, it seems that thoughts lead to action. I'm hungry, therefore I go and eat. No ownership of thoughts, risk there being no action carried out. He just wandering. Well, yes, seen from the person, it might look like that. But the person thinks, okay, because I became aware of the thought, I will bring the body into movement. Because I became aware of me being hungry, I have to consciously go to the fridge. That's the dream. But seen from the person, it's the only thing it knows. So of course, it thinks, if I'm not there to do the following of the thoughts, will I go to the fridge or will I stay starving in bed? So you have to face it, I guess. Yeah, but it's just undivided. That's the thing. Thoughts are just functioning. And in the story, one could say the body does what it does. It doesn't need you to do it. What do you mean by apparently? Yippee! That was enough. Okay. What do you mean by apparently? Well, that just is that in a way it means that everything is empty. Form is formless. Everything is real and unreal. So somehow it exactly is as it is, and somehow not at all. Because what the person would understand is that this is made out of parts, which are real, which are now here. But it's empty at the same time. It's undivided at the same time. It's exactly as it is, but it's undivided. In that sense, everything is just apparent, seemingly. But this doesn't imply that there is another truth. So the person would immediately ask, okay, if this is only seemingly happening, what is really happening then? But there isn't anything really happening. All there is what apparently happens. That's the natural reality. Sitting in front of the screen, feeling, thinking, that's whole, that's everything. There's no beyond.
Andreas.
Yeah.
Hello, good day, everyone. Do you find that I'm just going to use the word you because it helps me talk better. Do you find that you laugh at yourself? Like if there's no me, it's kind of like I was just watching some uppity ups get roasted by a comedian, and they had a hard time, like they're very tense and got very defensive, and it's this, very, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a very, like, how dare they say that?
Okay. Well, at least there isn't anyone who takes himself serious.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
So is there a lot more laughter there?
I don't know about that, to be honest. So if I'm in a bad mood, the comedian might get me as well. But there wouldn't be anyone taking that seriously. It's not really about me being something, but yes, there isn't anything which takes anything serious, really.
Cool. Thank you.
But yeah, I can't promise any certain reactions.
Thanks.
Okay, question. Hi, Andreas. I think you kind of said this already, but is what is experienced by me as a me, in fact, just continuous empty appearances? One could say so, yes. Yeah. I mean, there is no experience of continuous and empty appearances, but yes, in a way, one could say so. All there is what apparently happens timelessly, if you want so. Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. That's the natural reality. This isn't known or experienced, of course, because the experiencer also is an apparent empty appearance. Yeah, that's it. Okay, question. I can conclude or assume that everything is whole, but when you say this, but when you say the same thing, you don't make a conclusion or assumption. Yes. But you also cannot say it from your experience because you don't exist. Smiley. Yes, that's the thing. This message isn't coming from an experience, and by that it's also not a conclusion or an assumption. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Wholeness in that sense will never be known. It can't be known because it is everything. What is it that takes ownership? Well, nothing. Nothing takes ownership. It's a dreamt reality. It's not there. That's the interesting thing. There isn't anything taking ownership. It's a dream, an assumption. Okay, let's see if I get that. Are once were people who are now not people, okay, still as, okay, varied, with unique preferences and interests? Oh yeah, of course. Varied as they were before the death of me.
Oh, sorry, Andreas, sorry.
I think I got it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, sorry, so that's completely wrong. Sometimes typing in the chat, you can't go back and see what you've written. So if you push send, you can send lots of errors. So sorry about that.
No,
Wasn't on purpose. Thank you.
I think I got it.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Very good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just my question. Yeah, just you know, people once the me died, that they you know, there was still a sort of not everyone whose me has died, that they become the same. You know, that they are.
No.
Unique.
No, I mean that the funny thing is that turning out that there is no me, in a way, it doesn't really change anything. So you will just somehow remain being you.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, that's good news.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It will just, it's just a turning out that there isn't anyone in there, but that's all.
That's great news. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
Yeah, I was just pondering the word selfless. Like how selfless from this message, and then how that the idea of being selfless in other kind of traditions means being saintly and helping people and being good. And I just kind of wonder if that kind of original being selfless in the non-duality message has kind of got misinterpreted as being not selfish.
Oh yeah, of
Because
course.
you don't, because it's not like you become, when the self drops away, or however you want to put it, it's not that you then become a saintly, helping everybody, bodhisattva kind of figure.
No, unfortunately not. Yes, no. I mean, it's just the person's attempt to do selflessness,
Yeah.
which is utterly selfish, of course, because the person wants to do selflessness in order to be a good person or to become enlightened or to be fulfilled. So there's no connection to selflessness. But yeah, one could say when the illusion of being a person drops, the whole setup of intention drops. So doing things in order to drops. But this doesn't create a holy person.
Yeah, there's still the character with whatever. Yeah, the
Absolutely.
character just because it seems like being selfless in non-duality terms is more. I've heard people say it's more that the character can be expressed more fully. Like it's more that there's a freedom to the character. It's not that the character becomes selfless in a Christian kind of way.
Oh yeah, one could say so. Well, it's not really that the character becomes more free, but in a way it seems to be that the person somehow wants to do the character, and that somehow there seems to be always some playing around.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
wants to control one's behavior, one's feelings, one's thoughts.
Yeah.
It never really succeeds, of course, because it's uncontrollable. Oneself is uncontrollable all the time already.
Yeah.
To be some attempt, at least, to do oneself, to be a little bit more polite, to be a little bit less angry, to be a little bit more aware in groups of other people, to stuff like that. When there is something, there is the illusion that I have to do that.
And just like the setup of the me, does that kind of preclude any kind of sort of altruism? Like, is it possible to do anything from an altruistic point of view? Like, as in, I'm only doing this in order to help someone. Is that always a lie? Is that always delusional?
Well, in the end, I would say so. But it's a story because in a way, everything in that sense, everything happens altruistically. But within the person's story, there would actually always be some story attached about value, for example. Maybe it's not quite obvious in the beginning that I do this because of. But of course, in a way, the person and altruism don't really go together.
Okay.
Because in a way, in the person's story, but as I said, it's a story, it's a dreamt reality, but in the person's story, there's always some in order to.
Yeah.
And even altruism is kind of, because it's better in order to.
And do you think it's possible? I mean, this is only theory now, but like, do you think it's possible that, you know, that world religions might have started with, you know, someone, I don't know, the Buddha or Jesus, who was in a non-dualistic way, kind of selfless, like where the me had dropped away, and that just then became misinterpreted.
Oh, that's very possible. I don't know, of course, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating that the word selfless can be interpreted in such different ways. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, the person, of course, will interpret it in a personal way.
Yeah.
But in a way, it happens all the time. So when I say there is no one, and the seeker walks out the door thinking, okay, I have to become no one. That's in a way the beginning of religion. Then the
Yeah.
seeker walks
Yeah.
out the door and thinks,
Yeah.
okay, well, how can I do that? Shall I beg for it? Shall I
Yeah.
try to not be me? Shall I try to not be a person? Shall I? That's religion.
Yeah. Well, I think only of other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or think only of other people, not have own wishes and all of that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It just like, on a personal note, it feels like this message completely lets me off the hook, because like I'm not someone who, you know, I'm what other people might call selfish. You know, I'm not a do-gooder. You know, I don't like, yeah, I only do something if I enjoy it, kind of thing. And yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be called selfless in that way. So yeah, I like this message.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Andreas.
Thank you.
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
Hi, just me again. Just on the subject, staying on the subject that the lady was speaking about before. You said that altruism and the me don't go together. Is it also true for hurting other people and the me? So being, you know, hurting, wanting, rather than wanting to do good all the time, wanting to do bad. Is that also
Well, it would also be whether the person, of course, may want to do bad things in the end also in order to gain something from it. So the person thinks that even in doing bad things, there is something good in that. I think no one really wants to be bad for being bad, so to speak, except the person thinks that being bad is a good thing. But yes, in the end, it's part of the dream that there really is someone doing something.
right? And also, I think a lot of people feel that they need to be good because there's so much guilt surrounding that if you're not a good person, I mean, you're made to feel guilty if you sort of, you know, you kind of refuse people things, or you say no, or you know, I mean, you're not necessarily doing anything bad, but
I mean, the problem is, so to speak, for the person that at the moment there is a sense of being a person, there is some feeling incomplete around that. And on top of that comes the impression to be responsible. So for the person in one way or the other, there is some sense of I'm not complete because I'm not able to do it. And of course, one attempt to make it good, to please other people, to please oneself, to keep peace and create a harmony and stuff like that is already coming out of an attempt to somehow cover this actual feeling of incompleteness. And it's the same thing, actually, becoming selfless. The person thinks that it has to consciously become good by being nice, by doing good things, and hopes that this will fulfill itself. Yeah. But there are also a lot of people who think that they have to be bad. I have to show him that he's an idiot. Whatever.
But is it true that it's being, you know, the someone behaving badly, let's say, or, you know, thinking that they have the intention to do something bad, is that also completely outside of, you know, it's not within one's control? That's
Totally.
just like being altruistic. You either are or you're not. It's just oneness.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there isn't anyone doing anything. That's what I mean. In that sense, altruism is the natural reality, because nothing happens for a reason, and nothing happens out of a personal action, so to speak.
Okay.
But I know altruism is a bit one-sided. It's only covering the good part, so to speak. But
yeah. So there was another 50% there. That's okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, I just go on in the chat a little bit. Except someone wants to say something. Okay. The question. There was.
I want to say something.
Yeah, please.
Altruism is seeing Hollywood people getting roasted. That's all I got to say. Being exposed, characters in the game.
Yes, whatever you would regard as altruism. That's the thing. It's all of it. But it doesn't help anyone. That's the other side. Okay, there was nothing. At some point, all this apparent world has appeared, and at any other time it will disappear. This suggests that all that appeared is just that, appearance. Do you agree with this? Well, agree. It's a story, but yeah, why? I mean, yes. Well, there is no real appearance as such. The world didn't appear. So that's already a story, that something appears in terms of becoming manifest, becoming something. But that's all right. Okay, Yaroslav says, can't we just say that all our life is a sensory illusion? Well, the thing just is that there is no we who can say that. That's the thing. There is no statement possible that's true. So of course we can say that, but it would be unknowable. Because what this message says in the end is that exactly that we, or that I, that tries to draw conclusions, that tries to find answers, isn't real. Okay. Okay, question. Actually, nobody has ever perceived the color red, yet we can speak about red, its intensity, its shades. Nobody has ever tasted an apple, yet we speak about its taste, its sweetness. Science and philosophy are discussing how there can be qualia, I don't know, this experience of color, taste, smell, because there are actually only vibrations. But in the end, this discussion is totally fruitless because there are no qualities, probably, you mean, at all, right? Yes, exactly. Fruitless in a sense. Those discussions are what apparently happens, exactly as those talks are, but there will never be an outcome. There will never be an outcome which is the truth. There will never be a point. You cannot come to a point. That's the hope of the person in its life, on a spiritual path, on any path, but also in science and philosophy. The hope is that one day I can come to a point where it's finally known. It's finally over. And the person has the experience of all those small insights, understandings, and always there's this experience of coming to a point involved. 1 + 1 is 2. Okay, good to know. Stuff like that. So, but it's exactly that experience. Actually, the person would long for this experience. That's what it's looking for, and thinking that it can come to a truth. This moment of, I can rest for a moment. Finally, I got an answer. And it thinks that there is a big answer, that there is a final answer. And it's longing for this final moment of, finally, I know. But this never comes. This point is illusory. There is no real reality which can be understood. There are no points. In that sense, it's totally fruitless, of course, because it's already within a dream. Me wanting an answer in order to get this one moment of a break from seeking. Okay, question. Holiness can't be experienced as it is everything. This is a very logical statement and makes sense. Yes, but it's absolutely useless. Okay, how is it that we can apply perfect logic sometimes, but not others? Well, I don't really understand the question. The thing is that it's apparent logic. It's not real logic. Because the whole thing, like wholeness can't be experienced as it is everything, is unknowable. For the person, this sounds like a truth that makes sense within its imagined reality, namely, wholeness. And in order to know it, you need an experience and all of that. It's empty. Yeah. Okay, there's a statement. So even the most successful people within the dream still feel the sense of incompleteness. That gives me a sadistic pleasure. Yes, I can follow that, but they are, of course, as much wholeness as you are, just having more money. When I wanted to become enlightened, or when I thought about that, I was thought about, would I still be angry if someone else is enlightened, but even has money? Is he then not better off than I would have been? Fortunately, there isn't anyone at all. Okay, last thing. Of course, there are no contradictions if there is no I. Yes, because then nothing is, and therefore there is nothing which could contradict. Yes, absolutely. But as soon as there is an I, there is an existence and there are contradictions. Yes. Therefore, the existence of an existence is the contradiction because it can't be logically explained, right? Yes, one could say so. The experience to be something which is separate, which is the only experience of existence, immediately is a contradiction because it experiences itself as present by not being present. It's not even a logical contradiction, but that the experience is, this is not, something is missing. This me being here can't be it in a way. It's not logical or thought through or that stuff, but that's in a way felt as a contradiction. And then you live in the person seems to live in a divided reality. by there not being any division at all. So in a way, its whole experience seems to contradict what's actually going on, because the experience is there is something going on, but all there is no thing. Exactly. And all that separation creates at least always two, at least. And then you have two things which seem to be divided, and the person needs to bring them together. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Okay. In that sense,
Andreas, just before you go,
yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how are you doing financially?
Well, maybe that's a good way to say that. I'm very, very grateful for the support I get and for the donations that, or for the money that I got through the online talks. And it's two things. I'm doing fine. It's very cool. And of course, I am fine. I need it. So it works perfectly fine. Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking.
Okay.
I'm very happy about it, about how it all went. And
Good.
yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Thank you very much. So exactly, on my website there's a suggestion what I think would be all right, but it's both. They are still free. You are free to join, but whoever is able to give something, I appreciate it very much, and I'm grateful so far for everyone who gave something already. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's about it. All there is what apparently happens. There is no contradiction. There isn't a real happening. There aren't two. It's this. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Andreas.
Andreas.
Have a